Foes and false friends are all around me, Lord Davos. They infest my city like roaches, and at night I feel them crawling over me. The fat man fingers coiled into a fist, and all his chins trembled. My son Wendell came to twins a guest. He ate Lord Walder's bread and salt, and hung his sword upon the wall to feast with friends. And they murdered him, murdered, I say, and may the phrase choke upon their fables. I drink with Jared, jape with Simon, promise Rhaegar the hand of my own beloved granddaughter, but never think that means I have forgotten. The North remembers, Lord Davos, the North remembers, and the mummer's farce is almost done. My son is home.
When you play the Game of Thrones, you...
Subscribe and like.
Or you die. There is no middle ground.
All right, hello guys. We are into day 3 of the 25 days of Winds of Winter. Today's video, we'll be talking about everybody's favorite big boy, Wyman Manderly. And we're going to be talking about what is his fate going to be in Winds of Winter. Will he survive this conflict with Roose Bolton and Ramsay, or will he die? What will be the outcome of this character? And for me personally, I think Wyman Manderly is a character I very easily could see living till the very end of the story. I think he's somebody that has positioned himself to very much be like an advisor character. Or, for instance, I think with Rickon coming back into the story, I do think he will live Skagos, and I think he'll be very unfit to rule, especially given how young he is and how wild he's going to be. For a time, Wyman Manderly, alongside people like Jon Snow, could easily be characters that are going to be counseling over the North for a time until maybe Jon Snow is made King of the North. We know that Wyman Manderly already has obvious disloyalty towards the Freys and Boltons. It seems like he's killed a multiple Freys at this point of the story. He also seems to be teetering on the edge of going against Roose Bolton, which I think he's going to do so, especially in the Battle of Ice, as his forces have been sent out with the Freys to go kill Stannis. What's all going to occur? And the bigger issue of this is going to be, what's the timing looking like? We know that Wyman Manderly sent out Davos to go get Rickon, but when is that going to happen? I made a video last month where I talked about there could be this issue where we don't actually see much of Skagos, where it's almost like a reflection chapter we get from Davos as he reflects the events of going into Skagos and getting Rickon. Could he already be on his way back to Winterfell to return Rickon to Wyman Manderly? How is that all going to break down? I don't think it's going to necessarily work out perfectly like Wyman Manderly was hoping. I think Wyman Manderly is going to be faced with a decision here. He can either betray the Freys and the Boltons and help Stannis take Winterfell, Stannis stay to his own devices, but the issue is his position is growing more and more uncertain as the Freys and Boltons very much suspect him and everything is boiling over for him. And so I think this will be the time where the Manderlys are going to basically fully flip. On the face value, they haven't done that yet. They've publicly been like, oh yeah, we're all goody two-shoes with the Freys and the Boltons, but behind the closed doors, we know that's not true. And so when we have this Battle of Ice and the Freys and the Manderlys trying to find Stannis, why would the Manderlys ever help the Freys take down Stannis? If anything, the Freys are going to lag behind. They're going to maybe use an excuse that they got lost so that they don't have to bloody themselves in this conflict. If the Freys beat Stannis, which I find very unlikely, they can say they lagged behind and the Freys took care of Stannis before they even got there. But what I think could also be likely, as much as them staying out of it makes a lot of sense, is if the Freys come in and they come roaring into Stannis' camp, they basically break all of these lakes next to where Stannis is encamped and easily are losing the battle. The Manderlys could come in right from behind them, cutting off their escape and helping finish off the battle for Stannis. I think it makes a lot of sense for Wyman to flip sides. Now, obviously, he's not going to do it publicly. He's still going to be at Winterfell. He can't just publicly go, oh yeah, we flip sides. But what they can do, and like I mentioned in yesterday's video with Barbary Dustin, is they can help Stannis pull out this lie that he's dead and that he was defeated in this battle. They can dress up some of Stannis' men in Frey clothing. They can say it was a bloody battle. Maybe even some of the Manderly soldiers stay with Stannis to show that they lost some men in the battle. They could even bring Stannis' sword to the Boltons to prove that, oh yes, he actually is dead. Maybe even bring his crown as well. All of these things could lull this false sense of security into Ramsay and Roose. Now, this wouldn't be able to succeed for long, right? When you notice all the Frey leaders gone, none of the Frey soldiers seem to be recognizable. This is something that wouldn't last very long, but as long as that they got their men through the gates, it could be a Trojan horse situation. the Manderlys, along with this fake Frey force, could also be kind of convincing others to come to their side. I think somebody like Barbary Dustin could easily be convinced, given if somebody like Roose Bolton was to die. Now, the pink letter is another wrinkle into this. I started being a very firm, it was Ramsay type thing, and now I've teetered more and more towards Mance, so that's another interesting ripple to what could have possibly be happening here. But I think all of this is going to lead to a situation where Wyman Manderly helps Stannis take Winterfell. I think he will be one of the biggest advisors that Stannis will have within the North for the short time that I think he will be almost governing the North, as I think he will be basically dying. I think Stannis will die by the end of Winds of Winter. I would love to see him being the last POV chapter of Winds of Winter, as he gives his life defending the North against the others in just a really heroic, glorious way for Stannis to go out, for very fulfilling for his arc, being this Azor Ahai prophesized character by Mel, but not really being that person, but trying to live up to it, right? Dying in the same fashion, dying with maybe a flaming sword in hand, dying in the snow. It would fulfill that kind of prophecy, I think, for Mel, seeing him fighting in the snow and all those things. And so Wyman Manderly then would take this next role of being somebody that is championing Rickon to be leading the North, as I think Davos will have returned by this point. But I then think he will also realize that Rickon isn't the answer. Rickon is a temporary measure to say that they have a Stark. He's somebody that can never rule the North. He's just not the type of person to be able to do it, right? He's wild. He's going to be very reckless. I think Skagos will only have made those things worse. I think he'll be more animalistic than even he was before, being more, connected to Shaggy Dog, for instance. And so I think he's going to realize right away that there needs to be something else. There needs to be some other leadership change. Now, Bran also could come back around this time as well. Maybe we don't see him reunite with the rest of the Starks until A Dream of Spring. That could be very possible as well. But given I think the others will make their way through by the end of the book, I would assume Bran has to at least be on his way back before then. But at this point, again, if Bran is not with them yet, they don't know where Bran is. They can't bank their hopes on Bran. You then also have, Arya and Sansa. Who knows if they can be the person that rules the North? But I think what we end up seeing is the North retreats to the neck. This has always been kind of my prediction, that the North has to do a retreat. They're not ready for this threat with the others. Daenerys hasn't come over yet. There's no alliance there. The country is even more disunified than it was before. There's still a lot of things that need to be done before the others can be even hoped to be defeated, or at least a contest, right? Maybe they aren't even defeated at all. And so when we get to Howland Reed and we see him for the first time, we're probably going to get this revelation that Jon is either Ned Nishara's or Rhaegar and Lyanna's, whatever theory you want to believe. Howland Reed probably is going to have that information to tell us that. We're also going to get more of this information of Robb's will and Mage Mormont. I also messed that up on the announcement, so I am sorry for anybody that realized that. But yes, I will be doing Mage Mormont. But yeah, I think the end of basically Winds of Winter for Wyman Manderly will basically be declaring Jon the King of the North, as we learn of Robb's will and his parentage. And that will end out the book for Wyman Manderly, as he is basically going to be a top supporter for Jon Snow. But thank you guys all for watching. In the next video, we'll kind of move away from the North, as we'll talk about Skahaz the Shave Pate. And we'll also, in the following videos, talk a little bit more about Meereen. Thank you guys all for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.